Tee it high and let it fly. Everybody wants to hit it farther, but actually teeing it higher might be the reason why you're not hitting it as far as you could be. So now that we all have launch monitors, what we learned is by teeing the driver up and hitting up on it, you were able to decrease the spin and launch it a little higher and pick up distance. So inevitably what everybody has done is they've teed it up high in order to maximize that, right? Tee it high and then moving it up in your stance. But I've seen people tee the ball 3-4 inches in the air and still hit 4 degrees down on it. So that might not be what you want to do. The problem with that is if I tee it up high and move the ball up in my stance, well, yeah, while the ball is higher up, if I'm swinging and hitting up on it, I could be hitting the bottom of the club face. And if I'm hitting the bottom of the club face, I'm actually going to launch it lower with more spin. Where you hit the ball on the club face is very, very important for maximizing distance. I gave a lesson the other day to a gentleman who his clubhead speed had gotten faster, yet he was hitting it shorter. Just for that reason, he was hitting it so low on the face that the ball was launching with a lot of spin. All we did was tee the ball, believe it or not, lower, move it back in his stance, and he gained 30 yards of distance. So again, teeing it high, all you might be doing is bringing the heel and the bottom of the club more into play, which are two things that rob you of distance. So the question becomes, how high do you want to tee it up? And that's really just more of, again, where the club is moving in space. When you're hitting an iron, the ball is on the ground, so you have a bottom barrier to where you want to deliver the club into the ball, and you have the feedback of hitting it fat or hitting it thin. When we put that ball in the air, we lose that feedback. So it's really easy to lose where this club head is in space. So what I like to do when that happens is to tee the ball very low. I want to tee the ball up maybe a half an inch so that it's almost like you're hitting the ball off of the ground. And what this is going to do is help create a face awareness and an awareness of where the ground is. And so if I tee it low like this, I'm going to have to hit it solid, I'm going to have to get the club very, very close to the ground as it moves into impact. So how are we going to determine how high to tee it up in the ball position in order to get consistent contact? We're going to use the famous Dr. Scholl's impact spray that you can find at any drugstore. And you spray the face, the nice light mist there. Now we're going to take our ball and tee, and instead of teeing it up your normal height, I want you to tee it up basically about a half an inch away from the ground. And I would rather see the ball too close to the ground than too high. So that's about a half an inch. Now when I set up to it, I'm going to put the ball more in my 3-wood position with the ball pretty much like right on the logo of my shirt here, even though I don't have one today, but usually there's a logo right here. And from here, I'm going to go put a good swing on it, just like I would feel like I'm hitting a 3-wood. And you can see, hit that a little bit on the toe, but just slightly below the center of the face. And if I had the TrackMan running, tack angle was probably 1 or 2 down, just like it is with my 3-wood. When you can consistently hit it near the center of the face at about a half inch off the ground, you can start to move the ball forward. How far forward would really just depend on your impact location. How high would be, again, if you're hitting up, down, and again, the impact location. If I'm hitting it pretty good at a half inch with the 3-wood, I'm going to move the ball position up to my armpit for the driver, and that's probably about 2 to 3 inches. So probably about for every inch you move the ball forward, you can probably add about a half inch of tee height. But you're going to use the impact location to help you determine that. So if I was hitting here with a half inch, I've hit a few shots, I'm hitting pretty good the center of the face, hitting my driver like a 3 would. Now I'm going to move the ball up a little bit in my stance, and as I move it up, I'm going to raise the tee height. And from here, so the first shot I hit here was with tee low, about a half inch off the ground. Then when I moved the ball up in my stance, I hit the ball a little bit higher up on the face there. And I generally lean towards the toe because a toe strike will make the ball start to the right and curve back to the left. And if I'm going to miss, I want to miss on the top left part of the club, not down here. So I try to really focus my strikes on, I'd like to have it in the center of the face there, and I do hit some there, believe it or not. But if I'm going to miss, I want to miss kind of high up towards the toe. I want to see the ball work from right to left, and I feel like I lose too much distance if you hit it low in the heel. I've heard Jack Nicklaus say whenever he had to hit a fairway, he would tee it low and hit the ball low in the heel because he knew the ball was going to curve from left to right. But I also heard Jack Nicklaus's clubhead speed was 130 miles an hour. So he could get away with that. If you're always practicing your driver and you're never hitting the ground, then it's really easy to lose the feeling of where the club is in space. So a strategy that I like to have my students do is when they're taking practice swings to the side of the ball, is I want them to swing the club up, and as they swing down, make sure the club hits the ground. Making practice swings where you're just letting the club glide across the top of the grass and hearing a little bit of contact with it would just reassure you and give you that awareness of where that club is in space, making it easier and more consistent for you to hit the ball in the same place on the club face all the time. So now let's say you've determined where the ball height ought to be. We've got the ball a little bit higher, but let's say you're still struggling with a little bit, like your misses, if it does hit the center, is maybe a little low and in the heel. So again, when we put the club on the ground, when we address the ball, but when we hit the ball, the club is in the air. And if you can see this, as I set up, if I move the club up in the air, it just wants to go towards the heel. Doesn't mean you're going to hit it in the heel, but if you are hitting in the heel, a good strategy would be to maybe take I got the Callaway logo here on the top of my driver, and instead of placing it directly behind the ball, I'm going to place the logo on the inside of the golf ball. Or another strategy that you could do for that is to not even ground the club. To feel like as you set up to it that you hover the club up in the air, putting the center of the club right behind the center of the ball. And again, the club's about a half inch to an inch behind the ball, so when I swing, I'm going to be hitting up on it. Just be sure that you're not going to hit it in the bottom of the club face again. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If you liked it, please click the thumbs up, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you want more information about me or you want some online instruction, I have a Skillest profile, which you can find the details below. So hopefully, I'll see you on some videos and help you play this great game better.